we did the we did the koshering. We got it all in the freezer.
Okay.
And it rained and hailed on us while we were in the middle of it.
Wow.
It was
I'm sure,
pretty
I'm
messy.
sure the turkey was grateful not to have been alive through the hail and the rain.
That's right. Yeah, those turkeys were happy.
Very good. Okay, let's see. Let me do the share. I can do the screen here too. Hold on.
Okay, let's see. Okay, you can share now.
Okay, let me just bring it onto the screen. How are you feeling coming along? Any you were working on the metal pieces before?
Metal pieces are done, and we hot pressed it with the new set of metal pieces. It came out pretty good. And now we've got to hot press the shell yard.
Okay, very good.
So we're making progress.
Right.
Slowly but surely.
Right. Okay. Okay, good. Since you weren't with us yesterday, we can start in the time being. We can start again if you like. We can start with paragraph number 7 or Zion. I'm not sure if you're in Hebrew or English.
Yeah, that's where my marker is.
Very good. Okay, you can begin until I'm sure hopefully Roy and Mayor Eliezer Tzvi join us too.
Hopefully. Hashem. This is Derech Chaim.
Yeah, Derech that's the Maharal Miprag.
Ah, okay. That's the Maharal. Maharal. Okay, so Daled Midos Beholchei Beves Hamidrash Kule. 4 attitudes of those who go to the study hall. Ha Mishnah Hazos Sheshna Kan Gam Kain Haya Domeh Al Ha Mishnayos Shalifnei Sheyesh Bahem. Somebody's coming in. Oh no, that's my phone. Give me a second. Sorry. Just got to turn this off. Okay. Sorry about that. So what did we say? We said that this Mishnah, what is Sheshna?
It's learned from the word Shoina. It was Shoshana come. It's learned. It's actually being taught. This Mishnah is being taught over here.
Being taught here.
And he's questioning the configuration of the various Mishnayos that we have before this and after this, and why this one is put to be put over here.
Ah, right, because they're all four midos.
Right.
It's a whole list of four midos Mishnayos. Gam Cain also since Hayadome, it is similar.
Good, very good. Dome is similar, right?
Al ha Mishnayos Shalifnei, to the Mishnayos that preceded it. Zeh Sheyesh Bahem, that there is in them Chalokei laws shall dalid.
Shall dalid. Chalukah, they're exactly like you said. Chalukah shall dalid. They have 4 categories. Each one of these Mishnayos that we've been learning in this section, they're all Mishnayos that have 4 categories.
Right.
Chalukah shall dalid, 4 categories.
So there's a period after the dalid.
Well, like maybe I would put a colon in there. I would put a colon there.
A colon, okay. Hatov v'hara v'shnayim mitzaim. There's a good one, a bad one, and two that are in the middle.
Right. All these Mishnayos in this section have something in common, that they have four categories. One is good, one is bad, and they have two which are in the middle, moderate categories.
Right. Uma shalo shana osa achar arba midos bisil mi v'talmidim. And what that there are not two of these after four categories.
Uma shalosh shana, and that it wasn't learned, it wasn't taught, and that it wasn't taught after the one
What?
arba midos v'talmidim. They should. This is talking about people who go to the base medrash. And there was a Mishnah that talked about four types of Talmidim. So what they should have apparently logically should have been put together, no?
Because Talmidim are the ones who go to the base of Midrash.
Apparently. So we have to try and understand why they weren't learned together. They should have been learned adjacent to each other.
I see. Okay.
That's his question.
Right. Mipnei she ha-mishnah hazos shel arba midos behol chei b'beis ha-midrash eino dome legamre al daled midos harishonos. So since this Mishnah of the four midos of those who go to the base midrash is not similar to the four midos of the first. What does that mean of the first? The first Mishnah?
Midos Harishonya, of the earlier ones.
The earlier ones. Okay.
Like this, meaning this Mishnah that discusses the Hochi base of Midrash is not similar completely. No, it's not completely the same as the four Midas Harishonias, the four types of categories we listed previously. We had previously four Mishnayos, which dealt with four different categories of four different types of people,
right,
or situations. But this one, the whole Medrash is in some ways essentially different than what we learned previously. He's going to explain how.
Ikan af al gav she'amar schar ma'aseh biyado Makom makom he mitzvah gam kain ve'ena kamo hancha dila'il she hamida ha matzis hamatzis ein ba tova klal. Okay, so since here, even though that there's a reward, that it says that there's a reward for the doing of his hands, nevertheless, it's a mitzvah also, and it's not like Hanach is pleasure.
No, Hanach are the previous ones, the La'el. Hanach, the La'el. Hanach are those, the La'el, that are above. That's it says, let's just review this for a moment. Kikan, meaning in this Mishnah that talks about the four that are Holchi Beis Medrash, Afagav Sheomer Skar Maisa Biyado, even though it says they'll have a reward in his hand, literally have a reward in his hand. Nevertheless, Makol Mokam, he mitzvah gamke. It's also a mitzvah. It is a reward for it, and it's also a mitzvah. It's not like those ones that were listed above. The four Mishnayos previously, they differed in this aspect.
It wasn't a mitzvah to do the thing.
It wasn't a specific mitzvah, right?
Didn't we have one about charity, giving charity?
You know, that was the attitude. If you remember, that was the attitude towards the duck.
Right.
It wasn't the actual mitzvah of tzedakah itself. It was the attitude of those who give the tzedakah.
Whereas in this case, it's the actual mitzvah of going to the study hall.
He's actually going, right? Holy base of medrash. He actually is going.
Okay. Shahamida ha emtsa'is ein ba tova klal. That the in between ways are not good at all.
Right. That in the previous Mishnayos, right? In the previous Mishnayos, again, the Maral said all the four Mishnahs we had. This is the fifth of four Mishnayos we've had that list four categorizations. Correct.
Right.
So the Maral said each one of them has four components, two which one is good, one is bad, and two which are moderate in between.
Right.
So here, our Mishnah here differs from the previous ones because here we say that if he goes but he doesn't learn in the base medrash, right? So he's skar halika biyado, so at least he gets a reward for going to the base of medrash, right? Which is different than the previous ones above, because the previous ones above, the middle madregas, right? It balanced out to zero. It always was like yotzi skar behafsedo, mafsid skar behafsedo. The middle levels balanced out to zero. Here, he's still gaining something, even though it's a middle level.
I see. So, but this says, so in the previous ones, there was no good, but in this one, there is good.
Right, meaning good morning, Roy.
Good morning. Sorry I'm late. I had a blackout and the computer had trouble starting, but I'm here now. Where are we then, please?
Morning, Roy.
We're in paragraph number 7. If you see on your screen, paragraph listed number 7.
Yeah. And whereabouts?
Toward the bottom line and a half.
Thank you.
All right, we're good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. The Adaraba Yatsa Scharo Behafsado Sheyesh Kan Tzad Ra V'yesh Kan Tzad Tov. Adaraba, the opposite perspective. There's his reward.
Yotzi Skarba said he loses his reward through his losses.
He loses his reward through his losses. And there is here a perspective of bad, and there is here a perspective of good. I don't get what's the good if he loses his schar for losses. That would seem to be pretty bad.
No, so in the previous four Mishnayos, right, the middle levels, right, there was always an expression of Yotzi Schar Sedu, right, meaning he balanced out to be zero. He really gained nothing. In the end, he really gained nothing, right?
Right.
But here in our Mishnah, it's different because if he goes but doesn't learn, so Schar Halicha Biyado, he has something which he's retaining from his. At least he's going to the base medrash, right? That's what he means over here, right? That v'yesh kan sad toiv, right? There is a tzad toiv, meaning in the previous Mishnayos there was a tzad tov and a tzad ra, and it balanced out to a zero. But here there's it's a tzad toiv, even though the middle level it's still a tzad toiv. So it's essentially different than the previous Mishnayos.
That means
that when a person's going to be going to the base medrash, even though he doesn't learn anything, so he's not winding up with zero, right? He's not fulfilling things properly, and it's not the highest level, but you can't say he's losing out entirely. In the previous Mishnayos, the middle levels, they lost out entirely. They didn't gain anything from their efforts. Here, he's gaining something from his efforts. He's going to the base medrash.
mm,
Weiter?
Yeah.
Okay, number 8. V'chein arba midos b'nosenu b'nosnei tzedaka hamida ha mo as
Mumutzas, that's the middle or the moderate madrega.
yesh ba tzad echad tov v'tzad echad ra. So here, with the 4 attitudes of giving tzedakah, the middle ones, there is a side of that's good, and there's a side that's bad. Shamar Eno, I'm sorry, Eno. I know Ra. Bishalo. That it said that there was a bad attitude towards himself. Oh, I know Ra. Bishel Acherim, or there was a bad attitude towards the other. Ubechol echad tzad echad tov v'tzad echad ra, and in each one there is a good and a bad side. Ulefichach she yachin yoter biachad mima she yeshna ha mishnah hazos, and therefore, what is this word sheyachim? Shaychim?
Like there's an association. There's more of an association to put biyacha, to put them together.
Oh, I see. Biyachad. There's more of an association to put them together from what that
From what is being taught in this Mishnah. Shoshana of the Mishnah Hazos, that's being taught in this Mishnah.
in this Mishnah, Shamar Schar Halicha Biado. O Schar Maaseh Biado. That it says that his reward, what's halicha of going?
Of going, exactly. The reward for going to the base medrash. Even if he's not going to do, meaning there's going to the base medrash and there's doing what you hear being taught in the base medrash. So even if he's not going to do what he's learning in the base medrash, but still going to the base medrash, it still is something which earns him a reward.
Right. So he it says that he's gonna get a reward for going, or he's gonna get a reward for doing. Af al gav she'eno tov legamre, even though it's not completely good, makom makom oseh ha-mitzvah. Nevertheless, he's doing a mitzvah. Lefichach yoter yesh lishnos ha-mishnah de arba midos binos ni tzedaka achar mishnah de lael mish yeshna ha-mishnah hazos de arba midos behol chi leves hamidrash. So therefore, even more there is to learn from the Mishnah of the Arba of the four attitudes in giving tzedakah after the Mishnah above, that there is in them there is in this mitzvah. What is this word mishe yeshna?
That it's being taught. I mean, it's le'el, it's being taught. It's more relevant to what's being taught in this Mishnah, relevant to the other Mishnah. And
relevant to the other Mishnah, that the four attitudes of going to the base midrash.
right, that the fika, let's just review the last sentence. The fika, therefore, Yosha yesh l'shanas ha-mishnah arba midas b'noste tzedakah acher mishnah le'el. Therefore, it is better to be taught that mishnah about the four people having four attitudes towards giving tzedakah after the mishnah which was mentioned previously to that. From the mishnah, from that which is being taught this mishnah about the arba midos v'hochli beis hamedrash. So he's basically justifying the difference between the two, and therefore it's more basically because it's more appropriate to learn the mishnah of the giving four types that have attitudes towards tzedakah. That's relevant more to the one about the four types of talmidim. rather than this Mishnah, which is being learned now.
But what's this Mishnah? This Mishnah is going to the base midrash?
Yeah, Holchi b'meis medrash, right?
Isn't that the 4 student? What's
No, we had 4 Talmidim. There are 4 types of Talmidim. And then after that, we learned about the 4 that give tzedakah, 4 attitudes towards giving tzedakah.
right?
Those 2 Mishnayos have more in common together with each other than the 4 Talmidim and the 4 that go to the base medrash.
Ah, I see. Okay. Butter?
Yeah, number 9.
Oh, excuse me, does tzad and tzedakah anything to do with each other?
What was about the tzedakah, Roy?
The word tzad and the word tzedakah, has they anything in common aside from tzaddik daled?
Well, tzadik dadil, sod means to trap,
The
Right.
trap,
trap. So
And
it's one of the
tzedakah
malachas in
is
Hilchos
fine.
Shabbos, sod. Can't
uh,
catch a fly on Shabbos, right? Can't catch a deer on Shabbos. It's a malacha of sod. So tzedakah has a kuf. You're adding a kuf to the word, right?
yeah,
So the kuf changes it. So rather than trapping the person, when you give somebody tzedakah, you're actually freeing them.
mm-hmm.
So could have a reverse relationship. In Hebrew, you find many things which have relationships, equal relationships, and then you have things which have reverse relationships. And they're spelled very similar to each other.
Right, thank you.
Could be, so it could be, I don't know. It's not, I'm just basing that on just a thought came to my mind right now.
Okay. Thanks.
Upei rosh arba midos beholchei lebeis midrash hayinu she royim le yeled lebeis hamidrash. So the explanation of the 4 attitudes of the one who goes to the study hall, that he is he is appropriate. It is appropriate for a child.
No, that's lelech. Lelech is to go.
Oh, to go. Lele. It's appropriate to go to the study hall.
Meaning, this Mishnah that's talking about going to the base medrash, we're referring to people who are fit and it's possible for them to go to the base medrash because they know what to do there. You know, a base medrash is a high level of learning, and not everybody is expert enough to be able to learn on a high level, right? So therefore, we're talking about people who are on that level of being able to produce and go and be actively involved in what's happening in the base of medrash. And amongst those type of people, you have 4 characteristic people.
Okay. Okay. Lapuke im lav bar hahi shehu im haaretz, hu am haaretz, lo shaykh lomar eno holech ve'eno oseh rush. So it's what is Pierke?
That
A
la
puke?
fuke, la fuke means to exclude.
To exclude one who is not bar haki is somebody who is wise,
Bar hockey means he's like qualified.
qualified. To exclude one who is not qualified, that because he's an am haaretz, it's not proper to say because he doesn't go and he doesn't do, he's wicked.
Right. Meaning, in other words, like this, meaning when we're talking about four categories of people, a mahochi base medrash, categories of people that are going to the base medrash, we're speaking about people who are fit to go to the base medrash. To exclude from that parts who's not qualified to join in to what's happening in the base medrash, and because it's not proper to call an Aretz who's not capable of learning, to apply to him the name of Russia, since he doesn't, because if he's not going and he's not doing because of an Aretz, that doesn't make him Rush. He's an Aretz. A Rush is somebody who could go and could learn and could do, and he doesn't. That's a Rush. But a person's, for some reason, he's an Aretz, that's not considered to be a Russia because he doesn't go, nor does he fulfill. That's what's discussed in the base medrash.
So we don't hold it against him that he's an am haaretz.
Well, he might be held responsible for why he's an Amaretz. They're gonna question him. Why did you remain an Amaretz? Why didn't you get yourself some education, right?
Right.
And if he has a good reason, okay. If he has a good reason, if he doesn't have a good reason, he's in trouble. But we don't call him a rush. We'll call him an Amaretz, and there'll be certain ramifications for being called an Amaretz.
I see. Okay. Dema yesh lo lelech kevan she'eno mi bain davar. So that what there is for him to go, since he's not mi bain davar, he's not in the proper category.
Eno mavin davar. He doesn't understand anything.
Oh,
right?
maybe.
Maybe to understand. Meaning, the ma yesh lo lalech. What's there for him to go there for? Even eno mavin davar. He doesn't understand anything, right?
Rock.
There's going to be a lecture given, tonight in Mongolian. There's a Mongolian professor who's going to speak in Mongolian, right? You're not criticized for not going to it, because what are you gonna learn from a Mongolian? You don't know Mongolian, Mongolese.
Funny you
So
mentioned.
likewise, the Amaretz, if he's not qualified to know and understand and what's being discussed in the base medrash, can't fault him for not going, because there's no purpose in him going, apparently.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I'm reading a book about Marco Polo, and I just read a section where it was talking about how the big advantage he had was that he knew Mongolian.
Why there were a lot of Mongolians along his travels?
Yeah. He traveled between the Kublai Khan, the king of the Mongols,
Right.
and Europe, and he got endeared to Kublai Khan, who was very, very powerful and was able to give him big advantage in trade, because his father and his uncle had traveled before him, and they had learned Mongolian, and Kublai Khan was very impressed with that.
Okay, very nice. So there you go.
So I guess I must be doing something right, because I'm everything's relevant to everything else.
Yeah. Very
Okay.
good.
Rock Myri Dummy Shigesh Lo
The me,
Demi,
the person.
that from the person Lelech Leves Hamidrash. So only Myri, as we see,
We're referring to, we're speaking about.
we're referring to a person that that goes to the base of Midrash.
There is for him to go to the base measures. He's supposed to go to the base of measures. This person is
Right.
supposed to go to the base of measures. It's very similar to the Rashi. We spoke about it a little bit on Erev Shabbos. There was the Rashi about the Tzinsenes Haman. Remember about the Tzinsenes Haman? Yep. Rashi quoted the psukim in Yirmiyah. The Yirmiyah took out the Tzinsenes Haman, and he asked the people, "Why aren't you being involved with Torah? Why aren't you involved with learning Torah?" And he said to them, "If we get involved with learning Torah, how are we going to make a living?" So we took out the Tzinsenes Haman, and he showed them the Tzinsenes Haman. He said, "Look, this is the man, the same man that the Kadosh Baruch Hu sustained our forefathers for 40 years in the Midbar, and they learned Torah. So likewise, the Kadosh Baruch Hu can do the same for you, right?"
Right.
But as I mentioned, I think on Erev Shabbos, Yirmiyah could only have been talking to the people who were able to be Oisik in learning, and they weren't Oisik in learning. I mean, he wasn't accusing people who had no abilities to learn. He was talking to people who had the abilities to learn. And why were they leaving their potential of learning Torah and being involved with making a livelihood when their Torah would suffer? Because they could learn. So those people who could learn, it was a criticism to them why they weren't learning. But it couldn't be a criticism for someone who couldn't learn at all. Only those who were possible to learn. The criticism is, why aren't you learning? You're able to learn, so you should learn.
Right.
Likewise here. We're not talking about, in this case, Arba midos b'holchi base of medrash. There are 4 categories of people that go to the base of medrash. We're talking about only people who have an ability and a purpose in going to the base of medrash.
Which is different from the case of the tzedakah, where we're talking about everybody.
Apparently, right. Well, look, you could give a parallel case also, right? I mean, if a person, we're talking about the attitudes over there, right? So in those attitudes, it's always possible for a person to have an attitude. Here we're talking about his ability to go and his purpose in going.
Right.
Good. Okay, that brings us up to paragraph number 10. Okay, I think maybe it's a good time to stop over here before we start a new paragraph.
Okay, great. Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you. Very good, Lou. Thank you for the reading. And we'll start the Mr. Brewer in a few minutes. I was wondering, maybe has anyone started learning Megillas Esther with the groups here in Samanafshi yet?
No.
No.
Maybe beginning next week, we'll take a break from the Pierke Avos, and we could, I'm not sure. We'll finish this, maybe and maybe not, but maybe next week, or maybe when we finish this document, we'll see. Maybe we'll start Megillas Esther if you like.
Yeah, that would seem appropriate.
Mm.
Okay, we're within 30 days of the big day, big days,
Yeah.
so we should be getting prepared for it. Lou's already got his turkeys, so we're okay.
I'm preparing physical. I need to prepare the spiritual.
Oh yeah.
All right, that's
Good.
a good plan.
Bli Neder. So Bli Neder, we'll think about starting Megillas Esther on Yom Rishon. Bli Neder. We'll see how
Well,
we.
someone else starts before you.
If someone else does before me, tell them they have to stop on Yom Rishon because I'm going to start.
Well,
We can
we'll tell them to jump in first.
we can have
Right,
two we can have two shirim in on the same topic. So Chazorah is good. Is good.
Could be. All right, could be. We'll see. We'll see. If that occurs, we'll see what we can do to make it beneficial for everybody.
Well, you can fight it out between you.
I have two shirim on Parsha Shavua every day,
That's true.
and sometimes the same thing comes up in both, and I get an interesting perspective.
Good. Okay. If it doesn't.
Okay. Thank you.
Roy, have a good afternoon.
You too. Be well.
Tomorrow.
See you later, perhaps. Bye.
Okay. We'll be
See you, Roy.
Bye.
Okay.
Right. See you soon, Rabbi.